Hello, it's Monica from Crafting with Quilling Lady and welcome to my 10th day of Easter project. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create super quick and simple embossed and layered card. For today's project, I'm going to use Select Thoughtful cutting die and embossing folder from Tattered Lace. However, you can use any nesting dies and embossing folders from your stash. With the biggest cutting die here, I'm going to die cut it 3 times and then I'm going to die cut all the other elements using 300 GSM multi-purpose card because when you create card bases, I think this is the way to go. And as I told you, for your project, you can use whatever is in your stash. If you don't have this particular set, I do encourage you to have a look at your stash and mix and match all those amazing tools you've got. Now it will be time to emboss all those panels. And again, as you can see, this is one called Select Thoughtful. I really like it and I think it looks that very elegant. So I thought, why not? Let's use it for Easter card. And later on, I'm also going to add some color as well for extra interest. If you do have embossing folders, I really encourage you to play with them today. They are so much fun. And if you know, my 10 days of Easter projects, I've got a giveaway for you on my channel, and the rules are in the description down below. First of all, I want you to be a visible subscriber to my channel, watch and comment under all 10 days of Easter projects, watch any other 7 tutorials on my channel and comment under them. Then download any free project from Buy Me a Coffee website and I left the link in the description down below. And when you download this one, I want you to leave a comment under this video, which is the 10th day of Easter project. And the deadline is the 15th of March. And all the rules are in the description down below if you'd like to check them out. So as you can see, this card comes together very quickly. But at this point, I thought it looks very elegant, but I really want to add a little bit more contrast and interest to my project. So from my stash, I'm going to use Noir Inkpads, and all the names of the products I use in today's video, you can check it in the description down below. Actually, touching very gently just the surface of the embossed panel, I'm going to apply the ink. Super quick and simple. However, please make sure you take your time because if you press a little bit harder, you'll have that color everywhere. And we only want to touch the surface. So for today's project, I'm going to use the yellow and green. And I think that is such a good combination, especially for Easter project. If you agree with me, please let me know in the comments down below. Also wonder, how many of my Easter projects have you watched so far? And if you do have your favorite, now is the time to tell me. And I also wonder, have you created one of yours? If you have, which one was it? Please let me know in the comments down below. So as you can see with that yellow and green, I'm going to alternate them on all those 4 panels. And I think that's what really makes it very special. At this point, I realized the green doesn't have that green frame. So let's do it. You can use the side of your Inkpad just to add that little contrast on the edge. And I think that really makes a difference. So now I can add that green on the next panel and I think it just works so well. And to add even more interest and contrast to the whole project, I'm going to use some double-sided foam adhesive. And this one is really cool and simple to do. So sometimes we don't really want to create very complicated cards, sometimes just something simple. And I think this one is a simple one. All you need is some nesting dies and embossing folders from your stash. Now I'm going to add that yellow here from Noir, and on the edges I pressed a little bit harder. So it means I'm going to apply more pressure on every single corner just to match it. So do not worry if you make a mistake, that is absolutely fine. And I have to say that when these inks dry, they've got that beautiful shimmer. If you do have your favorite shimmer ink pads, please let me know which ones are they. Because I got these very recently and I have to say I'm very happy with them. So now I thought let's assemble the first two panels together. And then I'm going to attach it to the front of the card. So I'm looking how do they look like all together? Do I need more contrast or am I happy with it? So when these all panels are ready, I thought something is missing. So from Creative Craft products, I'm going to use ovals, nestables, and I'm going to show you how to create a Easter bunny. I'm going to use two cutting dice. With the bigger one, I'm going to create a body, and with the smaller one, I'm going to create the feet and also the ears. Super simple. So seriously, you don't really need much to create a bunny. So as you can see, it doesn't look like a bunny yet, but wait, I'm going to show you how to make it better. With the feet, I'm going to cut that oval in two pieces and then create that foot. Now I'm going to take it and then I'm going to cut it exactly the same way. So all of them will be exactly the same size, one left and one right. And you can always make some adjustments if you make a mistake. So when this is ready, I thought I really like the ears, but then we have to add some more details. But also, we need to create the face for the Easter Bunny. So here I've got a scrap piece of card from my previous project. I'm going to fold it in half and using my pencil, I'm going to draw the face of a rabbit. And this is a really cool idea if you want to create any template. Always fold your card so this way the left and the right sides will be exactly the same. Now it is time to fussy cut it using my Crafter's Companion scissors, and then I can use it as a template for future projects. So if you have any oval nesting dice, now you know how to create a bunny. When this is ready, I'm going to trace it on that scrap piece of card. And when this is ready, the only other thing we need is to add some hands or arms. So again, I do have quite a lot of card still left over, so I can still use it. So very often we throw away all those small pieces, but to be honest, it is a best way to create some small templates or leave the cut and add some color to back your sentiments, which I'm going to show you later on. So now from the template I created, I'm going to draw a hand. And when this is ready, I'm going to put the oval for the body, so I've got exactly the same curve, which I think is really cool. So when this is ready, I can fussy cut it, then trace it twice and fussy cut it again. And if you have any pencil marks, there is always a way to erase them. So your project is going to look professionally finished. And that's exactly what we want, right? Have you ever created a card with the Easter Bunny? If you haven't, and if you don't have any cutting dice with Easter Bunny, I think that is the way to go. So now it is time to trace those hands and fussy cut them. Super quick and simple. And the curve I use from the oval is just perfect. And at this point with the white rabbit, I thought something is missing. How can I make sure that we'll have a little bit of interest and contrast between all those elements? So there is always a way. So from my stash, I took some ink from Spectrum Noir, which is very dark gray. However, I use a scrap piece of card and I use that ink on my ink blending tool. So this way, I'm left with just very faint gray. So now I can add it to all the edges, which I think is really cool. And it doesn't really take that much time, but it really makes a difference. So when this is ready, I'm going to assemble all those elements. But with the ears and the face, there is always a way to add a little bit more interest and contrast. So from my stash, I'm going to use some alcohol markers, pink from the wax, and then Sharpie. If you do have a Sharpie, have a look, because at the end of mine, I've got a black lid, and it turns out I've got the fine liner there. So have a look at yours, maybe yours is very similar. So when all of these elements are ready, it will be time to add the details and also dimension, because why not? Our cut in the end is going to have couple of layers, and I think with some of the cuts, It makes a massive difference when you add that double-sided foam adhesive. So now I'm going to use the peach color alcohol marker to add the details on the ears and also the face. So to be honest, you don't really need any fancy tools to create your Easter rabbit. How many Easter projects have you created this year? If you still haven't created some, I'm going to have some more inspiration next weekend. So stay tuned for that. And I also wanted to say massive thank you to all the new subscribers on my channel. Your comments really mean a lot to me. And don't forget that you can win my colorful Easter collection. So all the rules are in the description down below. So now with all the details, I'm going to use the fine liner on that Sharpie, including the whiskers and also mouth and eyes. Super cool, right? So you don't really need any stamps to do it. Freehand is also good. Now I'm going to add the tongue and also the black just for extra shadow. So when this is ready, then we can start assembling all those elements. I'm going to start with the ears and make sure they are exactly where I want them. However, I'm going to stick the face at the very end because I thought it would be a good idea to do it at an angle. So with the curve I use from the biggest oval, it makes it so much easier to place the hands on the rabbit's body. Now I decided to add a tiny bit of dimension on the feet. I'm going to put a tiny bit of my liquid glue, then double-sided foam adhesive and liquid glue again. So this way all those elements will be adhered forever. And that's exactly what we want, right? So when my rabbit is ready, I'm going to put it to the side to dry so we can assemble the whole card. I'm going to start with the two biggest panels first, and I'm going to attach them with my liquid glue because I will have time to maneuver all those elements. And don't forget that if you're interested in any of the products I use in today's video, I left the links to some of them in the description down below, but also names. So if you'd like to get that beautiful select thoughtful embossing folder and cutting die, I left the name of it in the description down below. It's always a good idea to burnish your card from the back as well. Now let's create the back panel. I've got that biggest element. Now it is time to create the top flap. I'm going to use my scoring board and bone folder. And to be honest, that element at the very middle, I think it is too much. So I'm going to cut it off. I really want my card to stand proudly on a flat surface, so I'm also going to get rid of the element at the bottom. Actually, later on, I'm going to do a little bit more of cutting. So now it is time to fold and burnish, and we can attach the front and the back panels together. And then it will be so much easier to add all those layers. I do recommend you do that first before you start putting all that double-sided foam adhesive. It is always a good idea to burnish the back as well, so this way your card will be professionally finished. So as you can see, there will be plenty of space to write your message. So now I've got my double-sided foam adhesive and I'm going to start with that beautiful gold element. It is simply gorgeous in real life. I'm not really sure how the camera picks it up, but I absolutely love those inks. Do you have those shimmer inks from Spectrum Noir? If you do you have your favorite color? Please let me know in the comments down below. So as you can see, I'm placing all those foam adhesive here. Then I'm going to peel off the backing using my pokey tool just to make it easier for myself. And then add a few drops of liquid glue as well. So this way, when all those elements dry, they will be adhered forever. How often do you use foam adhesive in your card making? Do you have your favorite brand? Please let me know. This one is from The Works, and I'm very happy with how it works, if that makes sense. Okay, so our top panel will be ready, and at this point, I thought with our Easter bunny, I really like it. However, it is slightly too wide for me. If you know me, you know how much I love color, so I had a look on my collection, Colorful Easter, and I decided to use one of the elements. with the Easter basket. So I'm going to place it just behind the Easter bunny. And I also thought let's add a chick as well on the right hand side. So when all these elements are ready, then we can start gluing them to the card. I'm going to start with the Easter basket first, then let's add that Easter bunny. And what do you think about it actually? Do you like it just using the oval cutting dice? Maybe today is the day you play with your nesting dice and create your own version. And if you do, please let me know in the comments how did it work out. Now I'm going to place the face of that Easter bunny, and as you can see I put it at an angle because that's exactly what I wanted. Now it is time to add that chick and the cut will be completed. Super cool, right? So now it is time for a sentiment, and from mini Easter collection I created that sentiment, but I thought let's make sure that all the elements will match, so I'm going to use exactly the same shimmer Inkpad from Noir, and I'm going to add that color to the backing. And as you can see, it is the easiest way to use a pokey tool if you don't want your fingers to be dirty. Again, I'm going to use my liquid glue to assemble the elements together. And at this point, I decided I don't really need any extra dimension, so I'm just going to stick it to the card at the top on the left, and the cut is complete. So what do you think about it? And what do you think about the color palette here? If you do have any nesting dice and embossing folders, I really hope you'll feel inspired and create your own version. So at this point, I decided to cut the bottom off a little bit more. So this way, the cut is going to stand proudly on a flat surface. And as you can see, there is plenty of space to write your message. And if you like this card, please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching and spending that time with me. Don't forget to like this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And tomorrow I'm going to have a personalized birthday card for you, so stay tuned for that. Happy crafting!